Well, I love the annihilationist viewpoint because I think in my scheme there's some annihilating that goes on, and I'd say that in two different ways. I think we all have a false self, and so when Jesus talks about, he says to the Pharisees, "You're sons of the devil," then people don't notice that, like in the next sentence, he says, he's the father of lies. So what is it that the devil gives birth to? Well, not people. The devil gives birth to lies. And what are lies? Well, lies are the absence of truth. It's an illusion. And so I have a false self that I think is my ego, and that ego really needs to be annihilated. There are views that I have that need to be annihilated. There are perceptions of myself that need to be annihilated. And when I identify with those perceptions, well, then I think I'm being annihilated too. But it turns out that I am not my own achievements. I'm not the resume that I've written. I'm something far greater than that. So in that sense, the darkness gets annihilated by the light. Evil gets annihilated by good. Death gets annihilated by life. Non-being gets annihilated by I am that I am. So there's a sense in which that annihilation is really true and final. And I think all that non-being, all of those things that are finally annihilated are temporal things. So even our experience of time gets annihilated by the presence of eternity. So in that sense, annihilation is true. I think there may also be another sense in that we are all kind of in the process of getting annihilated right now. So, you know, in Scripture, when Scripture talks about people perishing or being lost, it's, a lot of times it's the same word, apolumi, and things get lost and then they get found again, but we translate it destroyed or perished. But even in the sense that things get turned to dust, like Sodom and Gomorrah. So in the Old Testament, that's the classic paradigm of something getting annihilated. It gets annihilated by the consuming fire that descends from heaven, reduces the city to dust, and then through Ezekiel, God says, well, I'm going to restore Sodom to her former glory. And Jesus even says it'll be worse for you in Bethsaida than it is for Sodom on Judgment Day. But there's this clear picture that God is going to make Sodom new, even though God annihilated Sodom. So God, who is the creator, reduces things to dust, but that's what he started with in the first place. And something can be annihilated in time and yet recreated and in some way, I think, be eternal. So for me, annihilation, all the things annihilationists say, I go, yeah, I see all kinds of evidence for that in Scripture. The thing they can't account for is how God is going to make all things new. So go back to that verse then. What is a thing? Well, some things that we think are things, like a lie, are no things. And he's not going to make them new because they never actually existed anyway. They were illusions or prisons that our minds were trapped in. Other things, maybe they are things, and he makes them new. They turn to dust, and then he recreates them, and somehow those things have a consciousness, it appears, of what they were before. So to me, all the texts around annihilationism are great. It's just they don't account for God's ability to make everything over again.